Good afternoon. Welcome to Lesson 3, Cellular Respiration. Okay, now we are going to look at cellular respiration, and this is Lesson 3 in your textbook. Okay, we are going to deal with page number 41. See, you can take your textbook and then look at page number 41 to page number 45. 46, please. Okay, page number 41 to page number 46. 41 to page number 46. Yeah. So here we go. So the topic name is cellular respiration. As the topic says, this is we are going to talk about the respiration that takes place in the cell. Okay, first of all, let us look at the definition of cellular respiration. Okay, so remember, cellular respiration takes place when the food material that we take in is broken down by oxygen. So let's look at the equation of cellular respiration. The equation will be like this. See, this is the food material that we take in, so which is called as the glucose or the sugar, and we breathe in oxygen. So here we go. We take oxygen. All right. So what happens? The oxygen breaks down the glucose molecule into carbon dioxide and water. So this is the equation for cellular respiration. And here in this case, if you look, the glucose and oxygen, they are on the left side of the arrow mark. So they are called as the reactants. And the carbon dioxide and water are on the right side of the arrow mark. So we call it as products. So remember, this is the meaning of products and reactants. So for respiration, glucose and oxygen are the reactants, and carbon dioxide and water are the products. Okay, now let's come back to the cellular respiration. The cellular respiration, it takes place, see, in two main parts. Two main parts. So the first one is glycolysis. Look at this. The first one is the glycolysis. This is the first stage or the first step. And the second step will be Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle. Okay. There is also one more we call as the electron transport chain. The electron transport chain. Okay. The electron transport chain. Okay. Now look at it. Now, glycolysis, very important is this. You see, it's given here. Glycolysis is the anaerobic process. Anaerobic. Glycolysis is anaerobic. What is the meaning of anaerobic? They do not require oxygen. Oxygen is not required. Okay. Krebs cycle. Krebs cycle is aerobic. Krebs cycle is aerobic. Okay. So which means they require oxygen. And electron transport chain, this is also aerobic. That means it takes place in the presence of oxygen. Oxygen is required in these two chains, electron transport and Krebs cycle. But in anaerobic, they do not require oxygen. Oxygen is not at all needed. They do not require oxygen. First learn this. Okay, you see it says here, glycolysis is an anaerobic process and it did not require oxygen. And but what about Krebs cycle and electron transport? They both are aerobic process, and aerobic process requires oxygen. Okay, so in this page, what you have to learn is about the three processes. How does it go? The first one, glycolysis, then the Krebs cycle, and then the electron transport chain. And glycolysis will be anaerobic. It does not require energy. And the Krebs cycle is aerobic. It requires oxygen. And the electron transport chain is also aerobic. It requires oxygen. Okay, now let's go to the next page. Okay, see what is important is This, there is something else here. You see, cellular respiration occurs in the mitochondria. So what is mitochondria? This is the mitochondria. The picture that is given here, this is called mitochondria. Okay, we'll talk about it. Okay, now let's go to the next page. Go to the next page. Yes, very, very important things are coming here in this page. There will be two questions asked from this page. Two questions. So one question will definitely be on glycolysis. So what is glycolysis? See the word glyco and lysis. Glyco means glucose, glucose, and lysis means breakdown, breakdown. So what is glycolysis? Glycolysis means breaking down of glucose. Breaking down of glucose. So let's look at how it is broken down. Watch here. See a glucose. This is glucose. How many carbon is glucose? There is 6 carbon glucose. Now what happens to the glucose? The glucose is broken down. See, if they need to break down, they require ATP. ATP is energy. They require ATP. So they take ATP and they break down into G3P. So you see, two molecules of G3P. So three carbon here and 3 carbon here. That means they are somewhere breaking down here. Then what will happen? The 3GP, okay, or we can, sorry, the G3P is converted to pyruvate. The G3P is converted to pyruvate. Okay, this is the second process. And in this process, you see how many ATPs are produced. You see here 2 ATPs are used. ATP is used. 1, 2, 2 ATPs. But here what happened? 2 ATP here as well as 2 ATP. 2 ATPs are produced, not used. They are produced, they are made. 2 ATP made, and how many NADH is made? 1 year and 1 year. So 1 NADH and another NADH. This is made. So what is happening here? What is happening here? 1, 2. 2 ATPs are used and 4 ATPs. 2 ATP and 2 ATPs are produced and 2 NADH is produced. So this is what that happens in glycolysis. So where does glycolysis takes place? See, glycolysis takes place inside the cytoplasm of the cell. A very, very important question. A very important question is this. Okay, I will write here, so you will write it down in somewhere and keep it. Glycolysis, where does it take place? It takes place in cytoplasm. Don't forget, it takes place in cytoplasm. This is one. And how many, what is the total number of like substances or molecules that is produced? Okay, that is produced here. If you see, the total will be 2 ATP. The net gain is 2 ATP plus 2 NADH. This is the total number of molecules that is produced. Okay, you must be wondering why it is 2 ATP. Here we have 2 and here you have 2. So totally 4 ATP. No, what happens? Yes, 2 plus 2 is 4. But here how many are used up? 1 plus 1. 2 ATP is used up. So 4 minus 2 will be 2 ATP. So you just forget all this. What you have to learn, you learn these 2 points. Glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm. And what is the net gain? Gain means how much is produced. The net gain will be 2 ATP and 2 NADH. 2 ATP and 2 NADH. Is it clear? So this is what happens in glycolysis. Glycolysis, this is what happens. Don't forget. It's very important. Okay. Now let's go back and look at some of the questions and come back. Okay, here we go. Now we finished these 2 pages. Let's look at, see, in which metabolic process are molecules broken down to produce carbon dioxide and water? Of course, carbon dioxide and water are produced by cellular respiration. Okay, let's go to the next one. Why is cellular respiration a catabolic process? We studied that in lesson 1. Catabolic means the larger molecules are broken down to smaller molecules. Yeah. So the larger molecule is C6H12O6. It is broken down to CO2. Okay, CO2 plus H2O, smaller molecules. So it is catabolic. See, energy is released by the breakdown of molecules. Here it is the larger molecules. So when you break down molecules, energy is released. Okay, so it's called as catabolic process. Next, what does it mean for something that is anaerobic? Anaerobic means it does not require oxygen. If it requires oxygen, then it is called aerobic. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, what is the overall equation of cellular respiration? You know that C6H12O6 plus O2. Okay, this we know. Okay, go to the next one. What is which represents the sequence of cellular respiration? Sequence. The first one I said it is glycolysis. Number two, Krebs cycle, and three, electron transport. Okay. What is the stage? Which stage of cellular respiration is anaerobic? Okay, glycolysis is anaerobic. Krebs cycle and electron transport, they are not anaerobic, they are aerobic. Krebs cycle and electron transport are aerobic. They are not anaerobic. Okay, now let's see, we have finished glycolysis. Let's see which stage of cellular respiration is anaerobic. Yes, glycolysis anaerobic. Now, okay, when pyruvate. Okay, this is in Krebs cycle. Okay, Krebs cycle. We will talk about this in Krebs cycle. Let's go to the next question. Yeah. Which of the following is true regarding the result of glycolysis process? You see, glucose molecule gives 2 pyruvate. So they're asking you which is true here. So 2 ATP and 2 pyruvates are produced. Yeah, you see here 1, the 2 ATP, 2 ATP. So 2 plus 2 is 4, and here 1 and 1, so 2. So 4 is produced minus 2. So that will give you 2 molecules of ATP. 2 molecules of ATP and 1 and 2, 2 molecules of NADH, yes, and 2 molecules of pyruvate are produced. So you have 2 ATP and 2 pyruvate. 3 ATP cannot be the answer, so wrong. 4 ATP is not the answer, so that is also wrong. Okay, and of course, 3 pyruvate. You see, 3 pyruvate is not the answer. So this 3 cannot be the answer. Okay, let's go to the next one. Which process does not occur in the organelle illustrated below? Yes, glycolysis will not happen here. Glycolysis, where does it happen? It happens in the cytoplasm. It happens in the cytoplasm of the cell, not in the mitochondria. Okay, so cytoplasm. Okay, then it is Krebs cycle. Okay, now what we do? We learn Krebs cycle. Let's go to the next part. I think it's clear now. Let's go to Krebs cycle. Okay, so Krebs cycle. Now, in the Krebs cycle, you see what happens. 2 ATP and 2 pyruvate molecule that is produced here in glycolysis will now enter into the Krebs cycle. Okay, remember what is entering? 2 ATP and 2 pyruvate. Okay, what is the other name of Krebs cycle? The Krebs cycle is also called as tricarboxylic acid, TCA cycle. It is also referred to as citric acid cycle. See, they may ask you any of these two terms. So you must learn both. Krebs cycle is also called as TCA, tricarboxylic acid cycle. It is also called as citric acid cycle. Both, all these three names are the same. Krebs cycle, TCA or CAC. Okay, so that is the only question here. So now in this page, you will get, I said, 2 questions. Now let's move on to Krebs cycle. Okay, see, according to the Heikel, from this page, you get only one question. Only one question. Okay, we'll try to figure out what question will be that. Okay, let's see. So let's learn now. So what happens in Krebs cycle? Watch here carefully. See the pyruvate. The pyruvate is coming from glycolysis. So one pyruvate, there are two pyruvate. We are talking about one pyruvate molecule. What happens to the pyruvate molecule? See, one carbon dioxide is given off. Okay, and the CoA will join and it becomes, see, 2 carbon CoA. So the name of this will be acetyl CoA. Actually, remember, pyruvate is having 3 carbon. So what happens to one carbon? One carbon is released as carbon dioxide, gone out. And the other 2 carbon gets combined with CoA to form a compound called acetyl CoA. Then what will happen? This 2 carbon will combine with 4 carbon. See, 4 carbon. So 4 plus 2, 6 carbon. They form a compound called citric acid. That is why this is called citric acid cycle. Then what happens? Then many reactions take place. Okay. Take place like this. You see here, many reactions. The citric acid is converted to 5 and so many things. And this cycle continues. This cycle continues. Now look carefully. How many carbon dioxides are released? Can you see here? 1, 2, okay, and then 3. 3 carbon dioxide. So 3 CO2. Okay, we are talking about only one pyruvate. So in one pyruvate, how many carbon dioxide? 3 carbon dioxide. Okay, let's say how many NADH? 1, 2, 3. All right, 3, and here again here 4. 4. Okay, so 4 NADH. Okay, NADH. Okay, let's see how many FAD. See FADH. FADH2, yeah, 1. So we have 1 FADH2. All right. So one pyruvate will produce how many? 3 carbon dioxide. This is very important. 3 carbon dioxide, 4 NADH, and 1 FADH2. Now, remember, it is not only one. Okay, now let's go back here. Little back. See here. Come back here. Look here. How many pyruvate? See, this pyruvate produces that. You have how many pyruvate? 2 pyruvate. Okay, 2 pyruvate. So let's go here and see what happens for 2 pyruvate. Yes. So 1 pyruvate. So if it is 2 pyruvate together, how much they will produce? 2 pyruvate together produces. So what you have to do? Just multiply this by 2. So they produce 6 CO2 because 3 times 2. 4 times 2, 8 NADH, 8 NADH, and 2, 2 FADH2, FADH2. Okay, so this is very, very important. In this, you need to know this. And one more thing that you need to know, where this takes place. See, the Krebs cycle takes place inside the mitochondria. So don't forget, Krebs cycle, glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm. Krebs cycle takes place in the mitochondria, mitochondria of the cell. Very important, very, very important. You will get this. Very important. Okay, so you see, if they ask you after Krebs cycle, what are the products that you will get? Okay, so here you have, see, 8 NADH, 2 ATP, 2 FADH, okay, 2 FADH, and of course 6 carbon dioxide molecules. 6 carbon dioxide molecules are produced. All right, so this is what happens in Krebs cycle, and this is very, very important, very important. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of it. Yeah, let's go to the next part. Okay, because these molecules now will reach the next one, electron transport chain. Okay, now see here, one more thing. In glycolysis, how many NADH is there? 2 NADH, 2 ATP, 2 NADH, right? So what happens to this 2 NADH? This 2 NADH will also join here. Okay, So 8 NADH plus 2 NADH. So totally 10 NADH and 2 FADH2. So total 10 NADH and 2 FADH2 will now go to the next stage. They will go to the next stage. What is the next stage? Electron transport chain. Okay, so keep this in mind, keep this in mind. Very important. Let's look at the questions here. Okay, here we go. The figure below shows the breakdown of pyruvate. Okay, study it and answer the question. How many NADH molecules are produced by the breakdown of one pyruvate molecule at the end of Krebs cycle? See, they talk about one, only one. They do not talk about two. Here they say only one. Okay, let's say, so at one, how much you have? See, this is one, no? We did, yeah, see here. One pyruvate, how many? Four NADH molecules. So the answer is four. If they say two pyruvate molecule, then it will be eight. Okay, don't forget, this is how you have to learn. If you don't learn like this, it's going to be a problem, my dear. It's going to be difficult. It's easy, actually. You have to learn carefully. Okay, now let's go to the next one. See here what they say. This is Krebs cycle, and what they ask. See, figure below shows the breakdown of pyruvate in Krebs cycle. Study it. How many ATP molecules are produced from NADH molecule? Okay, remember. Now one more thing I want to tell you. Okay, now you have NADH, you have FADH2. So what you should understand is this happens in the next one. Huh? One NADH will give you 3 ATP molecule, and one FADH2 will give you 2 ATP molecule. This you need to memorize. Okay, don't forget. One NADH molecule will give you 3 ATP. Okay, and two. I mean, one FADH2 will give you 2 ATP. So this is very important. This also is important. So according to this, they say one NADH molecule, how many they produce? One NADH. They produce. Wait. There is something here. Something we have to check again the question. Why they say 12? So that means, wait, I will check the question. Watch carefully. The figure below shows the breakdown. Study it and answer the question. How many ATP molecules are produced from NADH molecule are released from the breakdown of one pyruvate? Oh, sorry. Pyruvate, one pyruvate. So when it is pyruvate, come back here. Here we go. Here is pyruvate. Okay. So they're asking you in one pyruvate molecule, how many NADH is produced? 4 NADH. One pyruvate, how many NADH? 4 NADH. Okay. So now come back here. So we know that in one pyruvate, 4 NADH is produced. I told you that one NADH gives 3 ATP molecule. So it gives you 4 into 3. So that gives you 12 ATP molecule. Remember, one NADH gives 3 ATP molecule. So 4 NADH times 3 will give you 12 NADH molecule. So answer is 12. Okay, this is a little confusing. You must read the question. You see, even when I did not read the question, I was not able to figure out. Okay, so questions are very, very important. Reading the question. See in the figure below, the Krebs cycle and the preparatory reaction. Study it and answer the question. In the electron transport chain, how many ATP are produced from all NADH that are released upon? Okay, if you want to know this, we need to go back to the next cycle. Okay, let's move on to the next one. The next is called the ETC, that is the electron transport chain. Here is electron transport chain. So watch carefully here. What do they say? How many NADH enter here? 10 NADH. And how many FADH2 enter? 2 FADH2. You know that one NADH, gives how many ATP? 3 ATP. So yeah, according to this, so 3, 1, I mean, how many are given? 10 are given. 10 NADH. So 10 NADH times 3 will give you 30 ATP. Of course, this should give 30 ATP. And same way, 2 FADH2, they say 2 FADH2. So 1 FADH2 gives you 2 ATP. So 2 FADH2 will give you 2 times 2, that is 4 ATP. Okay, 4 ATP. So this is what is it should happen. Okay, let's see. So here 10 plus 2. Okay, now come back here. So here it is the same like what we studied in photosynthesis, the electron transport chain and all. Okay, so this is the ATP synthase, and this will produce ATP. And here you can see 10 NADH and 2 FADH. They leave the Krebs cycle and then they start entering into the electron transport chain. Okay, now I want you to do, I want you to learn this very carefully. Okay, so let's go here. Something that you need to learn. Okay, here, come back here. See, the overall, see, one molecule of glucose yield 36 ATP. One question. This is happening in eukaryotes. So remember, keep this in mind. In eukaryotes means humans, plants, they are eukaryote. How many ATP they are produced? What is the total number of ATP? 36 ATP in eukaryotes. In prokaryotes means bacteria. How many ATPs are produced? They produce 38 ATP. Why they produce 38 ATP? Because they are bacteria. They do not have mitochondria. Okay, you see, they say the prokaryotes do not have mitochondria. So when they do not have mitochondria, they do not require energy. So you get more ATP molecules. So 38 in prokaryotes and 36 in eukaryote. Okay. And the next thing that you should remember, how many, yes, how many NADH and how many FADH to enter the cycle? That's here. I already gave you 10 NADH, and 2 FADH2 enter the electron transport chain. That's from here. 10 NADH and 2 FADH. So this is very, very important. Okay. So let's now go to the to the questions and see if we can answer. See here, what does it say? How many ATP molecules are produced from all NADH molecule? Okay, how many NADH molecule was there? 10 NADH molecule, 10 NADH. So 1 NADH will give you 3 ATP. So 10 times 3 will give you 30 ATP. So we have the answer 30 ATP. Okay, next. Okay, one molecule of glucose yield 38 ATP in prokaryotes. Why? Why they yield 38? Because prokaryotes do not have mitochondria. They do not have mitochondria. Okay. So what is the waste product of Krebs cycle? Carbon dioxide is the waste product. Carbon dioxide is the waste product. Okay. So I think most of the things we have covered now. So let's go. You can study all these things. It's a combination of everything. Now let's see anything important. Here you see. What is the name of the process that occurs here? Process that occurs here. It is the electron transport chain. Okay. So where does the electron transport chain occurs? It occurs in the mitochondria, but it occurs in the inner membrane of the mitochondria. Inner membrane of the mitochondria. Okay. See, one molecule of glucose yield 38 ATP because prokaryotes do not have mitochondria. Okay. All right. So this is all. You can read this. It's simple. Okay. It's the same question again and again. So you may get this question. Okay. This time also. Why they produce 38 ATP? Because they do not have mitochondria. All right. Okay. Now let's come back to the last part of the lesson. Okay. To the last part of the lesson, and that is anaerobic respiration. Yes, we'll go here. Okay, anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic respiration, the respiration that takes place in the absence of oxygen. In the absence of oxygen. So anaerobic, the anaerobic pathway that follow glycolysis is already anaerobic or fermentation occur in the cytoplasm of the cell. Okay, there are two types of fermentation. See, there are two types of fermentation. One is called lactic acid fermentation, and the second one is called alcohol fermentation. There are two types of fermentation: lactic acid fermentation, alcohol fermentation. See, let's see what happens in both. What is the difference? See, glucose, this is also glucose. There is no change. The glucose is converted to 2-pyruvate. Here also, the glucose is converted to 2-pyruvate. No problem. Same. What happens to the pyruvate? The pyruvate is getting converted to lactic acid. See, if it gets converted to lactic acid, you call this fermentation as lactic acid fermentation. When this will happen? It will happen if oxygen is absent, not present. Go back here. See pyruvate. The pyruvate is not converted to lactic acid. The pyruvate is converted to alcohol. You know, in chemistry you studied. Ethanol is alcohol. Okay, you can see it is converted first to acetaldehyde and then to ethanol or alcohol. And in this process, CO2 is released. See, this pathway is called alcohol fermentation. See, they may give you this picture and ask you what type of fermentation is this. So this is alcohol fermentation. This they may give you and ask what type of fermentation is this. This is lactic acid fermentation. You look here, in alcohol fermentation, carbon dioxide is given out. Okay, so keep that also in your mind. Okay, so this is the difference between lactic acid and alcohol fermentation. Now let's look at this question. You see, they say the graph below represents alcohol fermentation. Which of the following refers to letter A in the illustration? I told you. They will ask you, okay, what is this? This is ethanol. This is ethanol. So here is carbon dioxide, here acetaldehyde. Learn all this. Huh? They will ask you like this. So this is ethanol. Okay, let's go to the next one. See, when the pyruvate, what prevents pyruvate from entering the Krebs cycle? Why the pyruvate is not going like entering the Krebs cycle? Why they are forming lactic acid? It's because of the lack of oxygen. They become anaerobic. When they become anaerobic, they will not enter the Krebs cycle. Instead, they will form lactic acid and alcohol. Okay, yeah, let's go down. See, which is not a stage of cellular respiration. We know glycolysis, you know Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. Lactic acid is not cellular respiration. Okay, this way you start learning all these questions, you will get very good marks. Okay, you will get very good marks. Okay, now we are at page number 46. Page number 46 here in this cycle, I have written here page number 46. And this is the difference between photosynthesis and respiration. Okay, the difference. Now let's directly answer some of the questions because now we have studied photosynthesis, we have studied respiration. Okay, what best describes the relationship between photosynthesis and respiration? See, the product of one process are the reactants by the other process. What does that mean? See, let's start with photosynthesis. CO2 plus H2O gives rise to C6H12O6 plus O2. Okay. What is respiration? C6H12O6 plus O2 gives rise to CO2 plus H2O. This is H2O. Okay, wait, let me erase this and write it properly. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, CO2 plus H2O. Now look here. This is reactant of photosynthesis and it is a product of respiration. This is the product of photosynthesis and this becomes the reactants of respiration. So that is the answer. The product of one process are the reactants by the other process. So that is the answer. Okay, let's go to the next one. See, next one they say the figure below demonstrate metabolism, which is a series of chemical reactions in a cell where the products of one reaction is the substrate of the next reaction. Which of the following is a correct description of the ongoing process? See what's happening here. Okay, now we need to zoom this picture a little and then see. Okay, here we go. See here, something is happening here. The molecule, this is molecule 1. Molecule 1 enters pathway B. Then the pathway B, see this is a clue. Energy is absorbed and it gives molecule 1. The molecule 1 gives pathway A. Okay, no problem. And energy is released. Okay, here you should understand that. When energy is released, what do we call this? You call this as catabolic pathway. In catabolic pathway, that means the larger molecules are broken to smaller molecules. Energy will be released. And energy is absorbed when the small molecules are forming the larger molecule. Energy is absorbed. So this is anabolic pathway. So keep this in mind. Anabolic pathway, energy absorbs. Catabolic pathway, energy is released. So pathway A is a catabolic pathway. Pathway A is a catabolic pathway. Okay, so that is the answer. And let's go again, see which is the correct description of the ongoing process. Okay, so you know that energy is released, catabolic, energy is absorbed, anabolic. So here we go. Pathway B. Yeah, pathway B is, yes, yeah. So what is catabolic? This is catabolic. So which process is catabolic? Respiration is catabolic. Respiration releases energy. It's a breakdown. And energy is absorbed. This is anabolic. And what happens? Which process is anabolic? Photosynthesis is anabolic. Photosynthesis. So the pathway B, the pathway B will be photosynthesis and pathway A will be respiration. Okay, so this is the end of your cycle. This is the end of the cycle. I want you to study all these things, and I know if you study all these things, you can get very good marks. You are smart. Okay, even you can get 100 out of 100. I know, guys. So you need to work on it. Okay, thank you very much for listening. This is the end of lesson number 3, and now we have finished all the questions in Heikel. This is the term 1 lessons. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.